Welcome to the Build Smart, Lead Strong podcast on the Michigan Business Network. My name is Jennifer DeMudd, Executive Director of the Manufacturing Growth Alliance, also known as MGA. Microvisions is an IT company headquartered in West Michigan. They are here today to share insights that are impacting small manufacturers. Julie Lough is the president of Microvisions, and Ben Knighton is an account executive. They are both joining us and just want to thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us, Jen. We're really excited to help share.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
So, Julie, let's start off with asking you a question. Microvisions is, as I mentioned, located in West Michigan, and you've been around for a little while. Will you tell us a little bit more about the history of the business?
Sure. So we've been around for over 30 years. And I started the company. I was working at a Fortune 500 company in their IT department and always had kind of this interest of owning my own business. And I just loved problem solving. I loved helping people, and I wanted to be in control of my destiny. So I started Microvisions on the side, working evenings and weekends and holidays and vacations. And in about 4 years, I couldn't do both anymore. So I went full-time into Microvisions, and we moved into office space in '95, brought on our first full-time employee, and we've, grown into a great small team of people. And here we are today, servicing a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, a lot of manufacturing companies.
So you're a woman-owned company.
We're woman-owned.
And what's your headquarters in West Michigan, but what service area do you have, Julie?
In terms of manufacturers, professional service organizations, we've got some medical, so we've got some nonprofits. So we've got several different industries that we kind of focus on.
And either you or Ben, do you want to share with the audience specifically? I mean, IT can mean different things to different people. Do one of you want to share some of the services that you offer?
Sure. Yeah, I can take that one. So, our official business title is a managed service provider. So we're an IT managed service provider. And, essentially what we do is partner with local West Michigan businesses and basically become their IT department. So, if a manufacturer doesn't have any internal IT resources, doesn't really want any internal IT resources, we partner with them. We work really hard to build a meaningful relationship with them. It's quite literally a true partnership. We work really hard to make sure that they feel that we are sort of a department of their company. We're doing the day-to-day front end and back end support on their IT systems, all the help desk services, things like that. But then we're also, having conversations with them on strategic guidance and budgets and, what are their business goals and objectives and sort of how IT fits into that and how we can utilize IT, and tools to help them reach those goals. Create roadmaps for them. Where do they want to be in 5 years? Help them with the budgeting and, things like that.
So it sounds like you're in it for the long haul with companies. You're just not, you don't want to come in and help them, short term. You're really in it for a relationship and to be with that company as it grows.
How long have we been with our longest client, Julie?
Well, one of them was probably shortly after I started, and we had a sabbatical in there, and they've been with us for probably another 8 years. So yeah, and we ebb and flow as companies, need an external IT resource versus, and then sometimes they bring it in-house. Sometimes we do a co-managed solution where it's a blend of both kind of opportunities.
We want to grow with our partners. We want to, yeah, just grow with them. And as they figure out who they are as a company, or maybe they already know who they are as a company, we sort of want to be along with them on that ride, and and learn about them as they learn about us. I think the more we know, and the closer we are to our partners, the better we can, provide our services and our support.
And if you want to talk strategy, you can't just switch things. You need to understand, where are you going? Where's that roadmap? And it is more of a long-term partnership.
So if I'm a manufacturer listening, will one of you share what are the advantages for a manufacturer to work with Microvisions?
We've had over 30 years of experience. Some of our first clients were manufacturers. So we've got a lot of different industry experience, from injection molders to tool and die shops, to CNC machining shops, to food manufacturers, extruders of food packaging products, stamping, safety equipment, other types of packaging. So I think that experience of understanding what type of applications manufacturers work with, what kind of struggles they have, we've got a long range of experience with them.
Okay.
And the second thing might be, it's understanding their business and their goals and objectives, their unique IT challenges, and how we get to know them and help with those roadmaps, as I suggested before, and that's strategic planning.
Yeah. I think another, big thing when it comes to IT, and most people know this, is security. IT and manufacturing has really never been more connected than now. And so a proper and secure IT system can really be a competitive advantage to manufacturers, because it supports the organization's data. Data is such an important part of manufacturing. It allows them to forecast and understand the supply chain, and help them with order fulfillment and all of these things that, they're not the only things that make a manufacturer successful, but they absolutely help. So to have an IT system that supports all of that, you've got to make sure that it's secure. You've got to make sure that data that's yours stays yours, because it's extremely valuable to have.
So Ben, you jumped ahead of me with a few questions. So I'm going to jump right in, because it piggybacks to what you just said, for a question I was going to ask in a couple of minutes. So the question is, I noticed that you do have IT crisis and prevention services, as you were talking about, Ben. Technology and data, with Industry 4.0 technologies being adapted by manufacturers. Will you inform us a little bit about the prevention of a disaster, specifically, a cyber attack? With all these new technologies, you become, you need to mitigate some of those risks.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it really all starts at the top of an organization with the right mindset. So, the entire organization has to live IT security. Honestly, it's that important. It has to be embraced by the owners and the C-level management, and then throughout the entire organization. It's got to be adopted by everybody in the company. You've got to understand where your risks are. Where are your security risks and vulnerabilities? What are the risks you're willing to take? And then, sort of balancing those with cost and what your budget is and how much you're willing to spend. I think a lot of people think that, until they go through a security breach, most of them think it's not really going to happen to them. And that's the sort of the wrong attitude to have, because
yeah, it's not if we're going to have a cyber attack, but probably when. The statistics are just showing that it is very good business for hackers financially. They are attacking more and more, and it's Used to be, you'd say with backup, it's not when I'm going to need those backups or if I'm going to need those backups, but when.
Sure.
So it is really important to make sure that you don't take that kind of philosophy of, I'll just wait till something happens, then I'll do something about it. And, we're also seeing that more and more companies are contractually obligating their suppliers to have certain cybersecurity protections in place. And if you're not paying attention to those contracts and something happens, you could lose the contract, you could be sued. It could be very costly. You could lose your reputation. So even if you aren't under federal or state compliance obligations, you have to be careful with your contracts as well.
So I'd certainly think that, cybersecurity could be a challenge, especially if manufacturers are not reaching out to professionals like Microvisions. But through your lens, what other big challenges have you seen for manufacturers as it relates to IT related needs? And are you able to help manufacturers with those challenges?
We're absolutely able to help them with those challenges. And what we're seeing happen a lot is supply chain attacks, whether it's a very intentional relationship management, social engineering attack, meaning I'm going to look at your suppliers. If I hack into one, I find out about you, I figure out how to hack into you, I watch the communication that's going on, and now I start to mimic you. So it's not just a random phishing scheme, but a very targeted attack that we're seeing. And we're also seeing things across supply chains. So if you can disrupt many businesses that are relying on the same type of services, you could almost take down a section of the industry. So everybody needs to be looking at ways to prevent that. And an IT risk assessment is a great thing to start with. Find out, where are you vulnerable? What kind of holes do you have? Mm-hmm. And then making sure that you've got policies, procedures, an IT security plan, an incident response plan, disaster recovery planning, understanding, what is my recovery time objective? What is my recovery point objective? Have I actually taken the time to test and prove that out? If I think I could be down for, 8 hours, if I actually did a test, could I get back in 8 hours, 4 hours, or 12 hours, or whatever it is?
With business plans, that technology or cybersecurity within a business needs to be documented in a business plan. But to your point, there are a lot of opportunities to build plans to support a manufacturing facility.
Yeah, and it's certainly better to be thinking about it ahead of time than if you are in the middle of, say, a ransomware attack and every one of your systems is down. You can't access your PCs, you can't access your line of business applications, you can't get email, nothing. That's not the time you want to start thinking about, what do we do next?
Sure.
But if you kind of think of all of those things that could happen, anything from maybe as simple as, I've got a virus on my machine, to our systems are locked with ransomware. What are the different steps we need to take? Kind of that incident response plan. What do I need to do in each of these cases?
So over the past year, I've had a number of conversations with manufacturers and companies who provide services to manufacturers. All businesses have recognized the importance of doing things a little bit different. What's new with Microvisions, either recently or on the horizon?
So yeah, I'll start, Jen. So one of the an extremely new program that we just came out with is it's called Fortified Cyber Defense, and we've actually partnered with a law firm in town, and it's a program that combines legal services, IT, and cyber insurance all together in sort of one digestible package. There's 3 different programs within the program, or 3 different levels within the program. Julie, do you want to talk a little bit sort of about how that came up?
Yeah, well, in a conversation with our partners, one of the things that we noticed is people have an incident. Let's say they have a security breach, and maybe it got to the point where they tried to collect from their insurance company, and all of a sudden they can't collect. They filled out the application, said they were doing certain things, and the insurance company, after delving in, found out they really weren't doing those things. So we looked at that and said, well, let's work backwards. First of all, how do we keep people from getting to that point where they're trying to collect and they can't? What do they need to do up front? How can they answer the insurance application correctly? And from a legal perspective, what are the compliance requirements that each organization has? And part of that too is making sure that they understand you need an incident support plan, you need policies, you need this stuff. So it's all that. What do we do to prevent this stuff in the first place? So it's putting those things in place. And then there's certain expectations that we have. I would say there's a handful of things that every business should be doing no matter what. Those are common things like you got to have an endpoint protection, antivirus, anti-malware. You've got to do patching. You've got to do backups. You should be doing end user security training. And there's a couple other things. But these packages are kind of going to the next step. And we can help with that first step too if companies don't have those in place. Mm-hmm. But these are they're meant to layer on top of that. So it's going above and beyond all those things that we're expecting you to do and bringing things up a level.
Okay, thank you for that response. It's you guys sound like a great resource for manufacturers that are looking to advance their IT systems and protect their business. I mean, we're all thinking about resiliency, after what we've gone through this past year or so, and resiliency is on the minds of all businesses, and the right IT partner and infrastructure is really important for that resiliency. So is there anything else? I'm about ready to close out of our conversation. I just have 2 more questions. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us that we didn't cover today?
Well, I think maybe compliance as a service is another piece of the fortified cyber defense. When you're doing compliance, you're doing the right things that you should be doing to secure your systems. And I think it's a great framework, even if you don't have to be, say, HIPAA compliant or PCI compliant. Great framework to follow.
All right.
And real quick, Jen. So this is actually my first job out of school. I didn't know anything about IT before I started. The opportunity came along, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to learn. And the company seemed like one, that I would enjoy. And I've been here just about 2 years. And, I didn't know anything about IT. Now the understanding that I have for the value that IT brings to businesses is unbelievable. And I'm so grateful to be involved in this company, in a company like Microvisions, surrounded by people that are so passionate about what they do and about helping businesses grow and educating them. A big thing that we want to do is educate the community. That's why we partnered with you guys. And that's one of our core missions, because why not? If we have the information and it's going to help, organizations, why not share? That's sort of what we're all about. So, I just thank you for giving us the opportunity to partner with you guys, and to allow us to speak on things like this and do webinars, because we just want to help businesses.
So thanks for that transition, Ben. This is my last question. When do manufacturers need to call you, and how do they get in touch with Microvisions?
They need to call today.
Well, tell them how. What's the number?
Okay, so call Ben. His number is 616-333-6025. Or you can go to our website, microvisions with an S, inc.com. Fill out one of the forms. That'll go to Ben. You can search for us on LinkedIn, Julie Lough at Microvisions, Ben Knighton at Microvisions. Yeah, give us a call.
Yeah, we're on
We'd love to
Facebook,
help
Twitter.
you.
So they should be able to find you.
Yes.
Right.
Before I close out, I do want to say congratulations for being recognized as one of Michigan's 50 companies to watch for 2021. I'm so excited that you're in that cohort, and it just really means that you're a growth-focused company doing the right things, and congratulations.
Thanks, Jen. We are so excited.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Julie and Ben, for being on the show today. Michigan appreciates all the services you offer manufacturers.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Build Smart, Lead Strong podcast on the Michigan Business Network. Join us for our next podcast when MGA talks with a small manufacturer in another sector.